If you could describe wellness in one word, a phrase, or a mantra, what would it be?
Radically Fit tagline is fit is not a body type.
Yeah. Round is a shape.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful thing.
That's what I tell people. I'm like, yeah, I'm in shape. Round is a shape. Welcome to Quest, a journey to wellness. On this podcast, you'll hear stories from queer folks and allies who've taken their happiness and well-being into their own hands by examining what they have found helpful along the way. My name is V, aka Vanessa. I'm a two-spirit human, joy influencer, energy worker, and a dad joke connoisseur. All pronouns accepted.
My name is Corey. My pronouns are he, him, they, them. I'm a trans-masculine digiqueer human. I love getting lost in nature, taking too many psychedelics, and anything reckless, really.
Welcome back, queer kittens and allies, or welcome for the first time to our 9th episode, where we'll be talking to Luca Yacón from phobia to anti-blackness and life experiences that led them to the point of opening up a gym.
I know for me, the path of radical self-love has been difficult, especially having the trans experience. It is a practice that is necessary, and we're going to get to hear about some self-acceptance and body appreciation. We hope this podcast brings you joy, where you'll learn, laugh, heal, and grow.
What's up, Corey?
What's up, V? How you doing?
Fantastic. Ooh, you brought the sexy voice.
Yeah, I'm bringing sexy voice back. How was your week?
It was good. A lot of rest and recovery. Funerals are never easy.
Yes, I'm sorry to hear about that. They are not fun and also a part of this experience and journey. As shitty as they are, or as untimely as most of them seem to be.
Yeah. I got to meet a lot of really great people, and I'm not surprised that my friend had so many awesome people in her life, and it was really cool to just have so many different parts of her journey come all at once, and then just the fact that there are years and years between people, or experience and distances between people, but we all had the same experience from her, which was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's amazing. I'm sorry to hear, and I'm also glad that you had a little heart-to-heart moment with all the people that also shared love for the same person.
Yeah, because it's proof her love is still going.
Yeah, it doesn't stop, and they continue to live on within us, and we move with love.
Well, how was your weekend?
Yeah.
Or week?
It was good. It was a good week. My partner was in town, so I got to a week of dates. We see each other every month about. She lives in Brooklyn and I live here, so we take turns visiting, and so we caught up on our dates and spent some time together.
Oh, that's so cute.
I like to listen to Dan Savage. It's one of my podcast repertoires, and I kind of wanted to get into this because it's a little pertinent to our guest today. And so Dan Savage was talking about Sam Smith's video, I'm Not Here to Make Friends. He did make an observation about Sam Smith incorporating a lot of bigger bodied people into the video, and I thought that's great. I follow a lot of people who are bigger bodied who dance, and just because you're bigger bodied doesn't mean you're incapable of being athletic. And I think that's a common misconception. However, he did point out, Dan Savage did point out that the love interest, or the dancers that played more of the love interest for Sam Smith, all happened to be conventionally fit.
That fit in that mold of beauty.
So Yeah. So even though there were bigger body dancers in the video, the ones that were capturing their interest were still in that realm of stereotypical fit people.
Yeah, like
And I
the
thought
video
that
was
kind of
trying, but still didn't succeed.
hit the mark. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like in the rest time that I had. Me and my partner Rafaela, we watched the Lizzo's "Watch Out for the Big Girls," where it's kind of like a reality show where like,
I haven't heard of that.
oh my gosh, it's so good. You got to watch it. Like literally, everybody already knows. And for those of y'all that don't know, I'm a big old crybaby and literally cried like every episode because of like the hardships that they talk about, but also like the beauty of like what they're doing to overcome that and to embrace their juiciness. And just, it's so inspiring and beautiful. And even though, they're femme-bodied folks, like their struggles I could relate. And it's nice to see something so beautiful like that on TV.
Mm-hmm. So I don't follow a lot of mainstream anything. However, I do know enough about Lizzo to know that she really does an amazing job at bringing in conversation of like bigger bodied women and women specifically, like just putting them on blast for the amazing work that they do. And it literally has nothing to do with shape, size, or whatever, but she does make it a point to really involve them in the conversation and bring awareness to all peoples, really.
Yeah.
And I like that. I think it's very genuine. It's very compassionate and like loving and embracing, and like it feels safe.
Yeah, like I think she did something at like an award show where she was like, "This award isn't for me," and then she just like put on blast and brought everyone on stage, like all these women from different backgrounds.
Yeah,
doing all like work.
Oh yeah,
all over the world.
That's exactly what I was thinking of, because I don't know what that was or what award or something, but the fact she called out like 20 plus women to just go out there, all of them are all in different sectors of like nonprofits and benefiting the communities that they work in. And it was like Palestine, like women in Palestine, to like there was some trans worker, like trans community builders in there. There was like
indigenous people,
environmentalists, indigenous peoples, indigenous women, like environmentalists. Yeah, she from all walks of life just like brought everybody up on stage.
It was the MTV VMA award show. So a lot of people saw that. I saw it on social media.
I think yeah, exactly. I was like, I think I saw it on her little post that,
yeah,
like I follow her, but yeah, definitely. And she's doing great work. So
yeah,
she is fighting the fat phobia, anti-blackness sentiment that.
Yes, just like our guest.
Exactly. So Luca is a queer, trans-mass, non-binary, brown-bodied human. I love a good alliteration. They are the founder and owner of Radically Fit Oakland, which is a queer, non-binary, inclusive gym in the Bay Area. It's just kind of a community of QT BIPOC folks who are fighting the fat liberation and joy movement for queer people. So they take that on and create a space to
feel safe and work out and move their bodies.
There you go. Yeah, so super excited to have them on and talk about the beginnings of it, their journey through it, and what they're offering the community.
So without further ado, Luca Yacón.
Hello everyone, my name is Luca, my pronouns are they and them, and I am the founder of Radically Fit. Radically Fit is a queer and trans BIPOC community-centered gym in Oakland. We really specialize in centering fat bodies and body positivity and fat liberation. And we've been around for 5 years. We opened in 2018, and we're located in the Fruitvale district. I have been doing personal and group training for about a decade, and I've lived in Oakland for also about a decade. This is, I think, one of the greatest cities in the country, if not on earth, but definitely in the country.
Nice. Yeah.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Super special here.
Definitely. The energy here is different. Before we get into the interview, what are your intentions? Like, what is a message that you want people to hear?
When we talk about the work that we're doing in community that centers radical self-love and self-acceptance, it's really important to remind folks that you are worthy of love and kindness and compassion and support unconditionally as you are the person you are today.
Thank you.
So, what was the beginning of your journey in creating Radically Fit, and what moments really drove you into wanting to develop this gym?
Radically Fit was really created out of the need for a space to hold queer and trans, black and brown people, fat people, bigger body people, disabled people. There were a lot of different moments that kind of led me into this direction. I, as a queer and trans, bigger body brown person who has navigated being in a lot of white spaces and grown up around a lot of white people, and when I decided to become a personal trainer, I was in predominantly white-led and white-centered spaces for fitness. I didn't see that need being met in the community, and in talking with a lot of queer and trans people I was in community with in Oakland, it was just really desired. And so being able to talk directly to people in the community and hear what they needed and wanted was really kind of the blueprint for me to be able to move forward to opening a space like this.
Was there anything that was really going on in your personal life, like any experiences or anything that like was directly happening to you that really like pushed you? Like, was there that moment where you're like, all right, this is it, it's time to open this gym?
I think it's an accumulation of experiences I've had in my body and being in my body my whole life. So like, yeah, there was a moment in which I was offered to kind of buy out a space that I had been working in and then open Radically Fit from that work that I had already been doing under somebody else's business. But really, what accumulated was really kind of the driving factor, which is just living and breathing in the body that I currently am in and experiencing a lot of discomfort in fitness spaces and loving fitness. I have loved fitness deeply for the past 15 years of my life, and for many of those years felt really deeply uncomfortable in the spaces that I was trying to work out in, to move my body in, to ground in, to build community in. And it wasn't until I moved to Oakland and really created community in Oakland that I was able to start feeling joy in movement and feeling safe in movement. So I think it was just these accumulation of experiences and other people's experiences that really led to opening the space.
You were mentioning that the space is being predominantly white, and I think that has a lot to do with, it's a little classist, to say the least. Going to a gym, the memberships can be really expensive, things like that. So yeah, whenever you are a marginalized member of a community or a society, like going into spaces like that where primary people attending the gym space are mostly white, mostly like already fit, mostly like these like bigger idealized versions of what beauty is is portrayed as in society. So yeah, finding a space for queer, brown, trans, non-binary, black, brown people, I think is super special. And I'm so glad that it's here in Oakland and I get to experience that.
What kind of like packages and stuff do you offer financially for us marginalized folks that can't really afford a lot of these gym costs that are out there?
In thinking about when Radically Fit was built and the pillars in which it was built on, one of the main pillars is accessibility. And when we think about that and how the impacts in Black and Brown communities play out in terms of capitalism, we really wanted to create a space where it was financially accessible to join and to move your body and build community. We have always had different membership options, and one of the membership options we have is a community care sliding scale program membership. So you can come to the gym and pay $0 to whatever you feel comfortable with. There's no proof of income ask. There's no strings. It's the same as every single membership. It's just whatever feels like can fit your budget. And when we think about that too, cost is a huge hindrance in getting folks to the gym, especially in Black and Brown communities. And so for us, this was and is continues to be one way that we try to take away a hurdle of getting folks into gyms and working out and moving their body. Additionally, we have reduced rate QD BIPOC personal training. So I provide personal training to Black and Brown folks at a reduced cost. And we just did the math on this, and I think we've had like 275 hours of that training since we opened. And that's been really an amazing way for folks to come in and check out the gym. And maybe they've never worked out before, and maybe they are coming back from an injury and don't feel like they can just jump into a class, that they can come work out one-on-one and get individual instruction, go at their own pace, feel out how the space feels for them, and then move forward with joining in the bigger community.
I love that. I might ask you an uncomfortable question. I was just listening in terms of how, like you were saying, that you grew up around a lot of white folks, and in workspaces you were around a lot of white folks. From my experience, only in terms of whenever I've been around white folks, like sometimes like it's kind of like not really there, but it's there, like that, like anti-blackness or that sexuality thing or gender thing of like choose a side, or I don't know, just I feel like there's like ways that it's like poked and prodded at without really directly being poked and prodded. I don't know how to explain it any better than just asking, like, did you deal with that? And if you did, like, how did you cope with that?
Yeah, I think I'm understanding your question, and I'll start off by sharing that I was adopted by white people from Guatemala when I was 6 months old. So not only was I around white people because of the area in which I grew up in, which was the Silicon Valley, in a middle class family, but I was around white people constantly because they were the ones who were raising me. And when I moved to Oakland in my 20s, that was the first time that I was really able to take a step back and look at my experience as a person of color living in that area and in those spaces, and the amount of subtle white supremacy and not subtle white supremacy that was enacted upon me and other people, Black and Brown people I knew. I definitely faced a lot of discrimination in terms of my own ethnicity and in terms of my body size and in terms of whom I choose to love in this world and being queer. So there are a lot of intersectionalities that were not necessarily celebrated and definitely rubbed up against. That's something that when I moved here just became so much more glaringly obvious. And it wasn't because the white people here are any better or different. It was because I was finally surrounded by other brown people, other Black people who had similar experiences or who were leading me to see what had gone on for 25 plus years of my life. That was a pretty rough awakening to go through, especially because a lot of it was coming from my own family. So being able to really sit with that and process that took a lot and continues to take a lot.
Yeah, I too come from like more of like let's assimilate to white culture. So a lot of growing up was trying to assimilate, and I think being here in Oakland specifically has taught me a lot about how I was raised culturally. Breaking out of that and really learning how to re-identify yourself and wake those parts up and really see how things actually work around you is really important. And to have like a gym space or like, because I love working out, I hate the gym. Like it's just not
Yeah.
my space.
Yeah.
I don't like to go there. It makes me uncomfortable. I used to, whenever I was looking at gyms, I would get so much anxiety thinking about the locker room situation. Like that, I would be like, oh no, or they like. I remember YMCA. They were like, oh, there's saunas in the bathrooms or in the locker room, so you can go into the sauna. And I remember thinking like, fuck, no, I'm not going in there. Like you cannot pay
Right.
me to go in there. There's no
Right.
way. That's not accessible to me. Like it might
Right.
be accessible to the binary, but that's not for me to go in and having like some of those things kind of taken away felt really like, oh fuck, like I'm not even getting to enjoy this whole process of going to the gym and doing this. And now I'm curious, what's your locker room sitch like?
Yeah, we don't have a locker room, so that takes that
Okay.
right out of the equation. we have a bathroom, but
Yeah, the locker room, I'm sure it gives so many people anxiety to think about. Now being more male passing is a little easier, but pre-top surgery, pre-facial hair, like like
yep,
where I was still looking like very feminine, it was an uncomfortable place to be. Yeah.
absolutely.
How do you make the gym radical? Because you call it radically fit.
It's radical in its very existence to start. Right there are, to my knowledge, either none or very little other spaces that are doing what we're doing. That is a brick and mortar space that is for queer and trans, Black and brown people, fat people, and disabled folks. And that is a gym that is accessible and a gym that really doesn't just welcome LGBTQ plus community, but really centers it and all its intersectionalities. So it's in existence, it is very radical. The other aspect of this is that we are a gym that is rooted in fat liberation, which inherently is anti-diet and anti-toxic fitness culture. And we really center our work around that. So we are not promoting weight loss. We are not promoting people's changing of their aesthetics. We are promoting joyful movement. We are promoting community. We are promoting mental and emotional health that is tied in with physical health. And we work really hard to kind of disrupt in the ways that we can the ways that white supremacy has really gotten its claws into the fitness industry. And everything that we do is rooted from a place of trying to fight white supremacy in this area.
Breaking the mold. Like, fuck your mold.
Yeah.
We actually got to meet you at one of your wellness fairs that you threw with the gym.
So in November of 2022, last year, we held Clear and Well, which was a cutie BIPOC wellness fair run by Radically Fit, so Radically Fit, and then a client of mine who owns Gemini Botanicals. We partnered with her to run this large-scale wellness fair. And we had like over 25 vendors. All of the vendors were queer and trans BIPOC folks.
We were one of them.
Yes, y'all were there. We had workshops there, we had body workers there, we had food pop-ups there, and then we also did a dance party and had live music with Beef Studwell and Luna the Bluma and a drag show. And everyone included in the services that were provided were all Cutie BIPOC folks. And that was the first time we've held an event in the wellness fair to that scale. So that was really cool.
Just for some of those listeners, because we have a lot of straight people who actually listen to this and learn a lot from listening to this. Can you explain what Cutie BIPOC is?
Cutie BIPOC stands for queer, trans, Black, Indigenous people of color. It's an acronym.
Thank you. Yeah, that festival was so much fun.
We're going to bring that back in April. So in April, we are bringing back Queer and Well. We're really excited, and we're actually going to make this one even more impactful. We are going to do, have the vendors and the food and the performers, but we're also going to do it on Earth Day, so it's going to be April 22nd. And in the spirit of doing it on Earth Day, we really wanted to focus on how not only can we'll have a panel on how we can really reconnect with the land, protect the land, grow the land, but also how that is intrinsically tied to protecting each other. So protecting and growing and being communal with Black and brown people, specifically queer and trans people, and how to keep each other safe, how to work with each other, and recognizing that, it's all symbiosis, like how we move in this earth and how the earth moves, like it's all tied and connected. So we're going to have some really amazing people coming out and talking on this panel.
That's amazing.
Awesome. Are you planning on doing this like quarterly, or is it going to be like a biannual kind of event?
Yeah, right now the capacity is at probably twice a year. So thinking having a spring one and a fall one for now.
It's exciting. It's exciting, yeah. When we were there, I went from like learning about self-defense classes to learning about soaps and how the least ingredients is better for the body to like tattoos there to tarot card reading to an astrologer. I was just like, this is like all of my Pinterest things and all of my Instagram hashtags I follow all in one place.
Yes, it was very good. It was very on brand for our community. Yeah.
Thank you for throwing that. And I love the community that you're building. It's definitely something that we need, because a lot of the spaces that we have now are just all surrounded with drinking. And I'm trying to get away from all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bringing queer living into the light, into daylight, into wellness.
I feel like Oakland is known for its queer dance parties, which are incredible dance parties. They've been around So Lovely is like one of the best premier dance parties, I think, probably in the country for queer people. They're incredible, and they provide such a needed and beautiful and important space for queer and trans folks here in the Bay. And I think when we think about our history as queer folks, like so much of that is tied to substance use, and like there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that when we're thinking about wellness on a whole, there are other spaces that really need to be created for us to be able to flourish and to build community outside of the dance parties and the clubs, not because those are not, really important and really beautiful spaces, but because as a community, like we need more healing spaces, and movement is so integral to healing. It is so important for folks to move their body and to connect with themselves and to feel supported and embodied and empowered. And movement is one of the places that you can go and do that and find that healing. So I think that having, all these different spaces for us, we need and deserve an array of different community building spaces.
Yeah.
I personally love to dance. So having the after party dance scene after the wellness fair was perfect.
And it's nice to be able to like dance and not feel pressured to drink.
Yeah.
So I don't know what your journey is with drinking, or I don't know if you want to share that.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about that. It's not something that I talk about super publicly, so this is the first time that I'll be sharing it on a more public platform, but y'all have created a space where I feel comfortable in doing that. I am currently in recovery and have been sober for a little over 2 years.
Hey.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
Congrats.
Thank you. For me, sobriety has really shifted my entire life. And I think, when I think about where I was 3, 4, 5 years ago, especially when I started this business, I really was, not able to deal with some things that were really important and holding me back from becoming who I wanted to be. And using as a way for me to kind of navigate away from doing the work to really take a second and look in the mirror and really think about the person I was and like what I needed to change. And, I'd been drinking since I was 14 and I got sober, I'm 35, so at 33. And that's a long time to have been kind of doing the same thing over and over and not being able to really just kind of get the lessons that the universe is trying over and over and over. The universe is great because the universe will say, you didn't learn it this time, let's try it again.
Yeah.
And it will keep giving you those
Yeah, I think 33 is the magic
and
number.
I love the universe for that. Yeah. 33 was the year that I was like, okay, I think, there's so much for me in getting sober that I can be proud of and I can sit with and really that ties to the work that I'm doing. And I think that I'm able to really show up for my community in a way that I couldn't when I was using. And I love the work that I do. And for years, it was not enjoyable. But it wasn't enjoyable. It wasn't not enjoyable because I don't love my work. It was not enjoyable because I was sitting in my own misery and I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do to move through that and to heal and to really open my heart and my mind up in ways that I didn't think were possible until I got sober. So it's been a really huge part of my wellness path and journey, and it's been the best and most incredible gift that I have ever given to myself.
So inspirational. Yes. I'm at 33 right now, and I've been about 2 months sober. It's really great to hear that story.
Yeah.
Because I'm at the beginning of that journey that you were just talking about. Sitting here at 33, 2 months sober.
It can be so overwhelming. And I think for me, the work was less in the not drinking. Not the physical act of not drinking has not been a challenge for me. What really, for me, my experience, what really changes and with the part that is like, oh, here we go. Like this is the roller coaster. This is the work is when you sit down and you start taking inventory of your life and thinking about the ways in which you have shown up and who you have impacted and how you have impacted them and how are you really adding to your own misery, right? And when you start to really have that hard conversation with yourself and you start to do the work to untangle yourself from everything you have told yourself you are, and you kind of, it's this like shedding, right? When that happens, like that is where you're just like, oh my God, like this is a big thing. This isn't just me stopping drinking, right? This is me stopping drinking and then working on myself as a human being in society and these communities. And that for me is kind of the most pivotal part of sobriety that I love to talk to people about, because it's like, I don't, life-changing isn't even good enough of a phrase. It really, in some ways, feels like you're ripping yourself apart and then gently, compassionately, lovingly, and slowly building yourself back up. And it's hard. It's really hard. But it's worth it. It's so worth it to be able to like look at yourself in the mirror and really like yourself, and to be able to stand in integrity in a way that you might not have, before, and to look at all the things that you can accomplish when you don't hold yourself back. When for me, my substance use was very limiting. It limited me so greatly in so many aspects of my life. And so when I was able to really shed that, I was like, oh, your world, it opens up. It's beautiful, and I congratulate you, and I'm here to support you in any way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's super. Ooh, you like gave me the chills. Chills of like excitement, but also like I think I was writing. I write in my journal, or maybe I was working on today's post and journaling. I did a post today talking about our last guest, Kaylin Marisol, and we were talking about releasing what doesn't serve you, and just sitting there and with that curiosity with yourself, and like questioning and being aware of like the things that do serve you, and to move forward with those, and to release those things that don't. And that releasing part is the hard part, but is so rewarding. So it was really nice that like to hear you tie that in. I know that sometimes with some different people that sobriety can look different, because like for me it's like, yeah, like for me sobriety is more of like not drinking alcohol or using things that are for the party, because I do medicinally, sometimes microdose mushrooms. So like my sobriety might look a lot different. I was wondering, like, what does sobriety mean for you?
I'm old school. As of now, in my 2 years, which is very early on in sobriety, I don't drink and I don't do any drugs. So for me, it's very much, I don't know, classic sobriety.
That's straight edge.
And that's just because, yeah, straight edge. Yeah. And that's because at the end of the day, with or without substance, and some people don't like to classify themselves this way, and I respect that, honor that. For me, I feel light about it, which I think is why I can say it. But at the end of the day, I'm an addict, and I can make anything, line up with addict's behavior. So for me, like I really want to center abstinence from any substance use, because it can very easily feed into an addiction.
I don't know. I have this really deep belief that all of us are addicts in some way. Like for me, ice cream and fucking McDonald's, damn it.
Honestly, I feel kind of blessed. I feel like a goldfish a lot of the time, so I forget everything. And I think that kind of helps me not have that like mentality, because there'll be times where I'm like, dang, it would be really nice to smoke a J or something here, like, and then I'll like get started on something else, and then it'll be 3 days later. I'm like, oh, I never smoked that. Like, oh, dang. Like,
yes, that is not, addict. That's not the addict's mind. So you are you are blessed.
I'm blessed with the goldfish brain. The memory.
That's good. For me, I'm like grouchy if I don't get the ice cream, or if I don't get it, I get grouchy. Or sad. So
I feel like that's genetic.
It could be, honestly, and it could be just all these GMOs that are in our food that are making us addicted to all these sugars and salts. And
well, sugar is very addicting. Sugar is like, I think, one of the ones that we overlook as an addiction.
Oh,
a lot of times.
Certainly, like
yeah, I could get into that, because that I have a lot of mixed feelings around that sentiment, because the sugar addiction is also very rooted in fat phobia, because there are a lot of studies that actually prove that sugar is not addictive, and it's kind of similar to like when people are like fast food is addictive or junk food is addictive, and like where that actually all stems from has more to do with its roots in fat phobia than I think science most of the time. And also like what we're fed in terms of what societally we see in like what we've been told, like when we're watching commercials, like what that does to our brains to kind of imprint, oh, if I'm having a bad day, I want X, Y, and Z, right? And then when we think about that and we think about how it's rooted in fat phobia, a lot of that is the shaming aspect, right? So we're like, oh, we don't want to eat sugar because people are shamed to not eat sugar, to not eat junk food. Like these are all aspects of fat phobia. So
right. Do you think though there's the dopamine release from getting the thing that you want, so then therefore the addiction to the dopamine release is in correlation to the substance being consumed, whether it's sugar or not sugar?
right.
So if there is a dopamine dump, and because you correlate it to the consumption of something, it's still nonetheless a dopamine response in your body, which makes you want it, right?
Absolutely,
So,
yeah. I think that's a part of it.
Definitely,
sure.
because when I
Yeah.
first moved out of LA and moved to the Bay Area, I didn't know anybody. I didn't have mama's home cooking. I showed up to the Bay at 1:35, and now I'm at like 2:15. So I coped with like my family being so far away, and my dad was sick, and like I was just like sugar, fast food. Like I feel better in the moment, you know, and now I love, you know, my juiciness. But back then,
As you
yeah,
said.
but back then it was hard, you know, just going home and, you know, family just being like, oh, who ate my daughter? And I'm just like, oh shit. But I didn't know how. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I didn't know how.
Say
I didn't
that.
have coping skills. I wasn't really taught how to cope. You know, so eating was
Right.
my coping mechanism.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, again, like to tie what our work is in community, it's like that exact experience where you moved away from what felt like probably a really loving and safe place, or at least in some ways, you know, at home. You know, you move from a place to a new place, which causes, you know, anxiety and like, you know, there's a lot of new experiences here in the Bay, and you gained weight. And when you go home, people are making comments about your body, right? And when we think about how detrimental that is to you, because now when you go to reach for that ice cream or a burger or whatever it is that you have been told is making you fat, which is making you undesirable or less worthy of our love and support, all of that is starting to play into your mentality around how you choose to feel your body and how you view your body. And, you know, are you worthy of love? Are you desirable in a bigger body? Like all of these things that we experience as people, especially when it comes from people who are supposed to be keeping us safe and loved, like our family, it is incredibly impactful in a really negative way. And so our work is really tied into starting to talk to folks about fat phobia and what that looks like. And that is an experience of fat phobia, right? And that is an experience of somebody telling you that because you have gained weight, you are no longer X, Y, and Z, whatever they're saying. But it's those little comments about people's bodies or whatever that ties into the choices they make for how to feed their body. And really, that is how people get disordered eating and eating disorders, right? Because they're constantly thinking about what they're putting into their body instead of just feeding their body when they're hungry and being like, okay.
Yeah, I was actually going through your Instagram and you have some like very like rico suave photos of you with like your shirt open and just like very out. Like me and my partner were like, oh dang, and you know, and so I was wondering just like what was it like? Any like practices that you did for yourself to get you to that rico suave moment, that confidence in yourself?
That's very sweet of you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot at play there. I'll say that for me, educating myself on fat phobia was a huge part of how I learned to detangle myself from that harmful cycle. I have always been, you know, since I hit puberty, I've always been bigger, but I also put it like this because I was again around a lot of white people who just have different body types. I might have felt bigger, but in reality was I bigger? Being in what I am very proud to call a bigger body today and being comfortable in that body has taken years and years and years and years of work. When I finally was able to see the harm that toxic diet culture and toxic fitness culture and white supremacy and capitalism, how all of that has affected my view of myself and what is beautiful, right? When we talk about European beauty standards, like when I finally did the research and talk to people who were already doing this work and learn from them, I was really able to take a step back and to be able to appreciate my body for everything that it has to offer and not deem it unworthy because of its size. And that was something that took probably 20 years. Like of deep work, it probably took almost 10 years. It was a long journey because we spend our whole life being told that thinness equals beauty and that whiteness equals beauty, and trying to deconstruct those things in our mind is a lot of work. That's a big part of it, and also getting top surgery was life-changing and incredible, and really being able to see myself in this body and in this version of myself has made me feel like euphoric on another level and just really confident in who I am, because this version of me was not visible to me for so long. And now that it's here and I am embodying the trans brown boy, like joy and bigness and handsomeness, like all of that.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
It's just like this thing, it's like this gift that keeps giving. So yeah, I think those two things in combination with each other, and also like being around people, surrounding myself with people who are working on their own fat phobia, right? We all have internalized fat phobia. As we all have internalized anti-blackness, right? Like all of these constructs, working on those constructs within us. Surrounding myself with people that are doing the work, because it can be really harmful to hear comments about people's bodies and the way that they even perceive their own body. Being in partnership with somebody who knows how to love my body and who knows how to appreciate it and love up on it and make me feel amazing. Like that is really important to feeling good for me, at least.
Yeah, my partner's pretty much like that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm getting all nervous thinking about it. She's sitting right next to me. Oh, man. Well, to wrap all this all up, before we get into shout outs and stuff, do you have any advice to someone starting their own wellness journey?
Be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace. There's so much that we as a society have to unlearn, and it can feel really daunting and it can feel really isolating, but you are not alone. There are so many people finding themselves and finding new ways of living that are allowing them to be happier and more at peace with themselves. And I think if you just take it day by day, and again, give yourself that kindness and that love, and remind yourself that you are worthy of the person that you are becoming. And you are worthy and deserving of meeting that person and loving that person. So, day by day.
That was beautiful.
Twinkle.
Not me getting emotional.
Literally
every time. Jeez, big old softy.
Every time.
Do you have any shout outs that you want to do? Any shout outs, announcements, anything like that?
Well, shout out to y'all for doing this work, and thank you for holding this space. And I'll give a shout out to my team at Radically Fit. Everyone that works there is incredible, badass, baddies, hot, cool. So Shout out to them and all the all the work that they're doing for this community. And yeah, if you head on over to our website or check out our Instagram, we can keep you up to date with all the events that we're hosting. So we're going to do another Queer and Well in April on Earth Day. We're going to do another deadlift and drag meet, which is exactly what it sounds like, deadlift meet and drag show. And yeah, we have some some really great community events coming up. So we hope to see you there. And also, your first class with us is free. We just released a QD BIPOC 2-week unlimited class pass for $20, and we always have that sliding scale membership, so y'all can come work out with us for $0 to whatever you can pay. Instagram handle is at radicallyfitoakland.com, RADICALLYFITOAKLAND. Did you want me to actually spell it?
We'll put it in the show notes.
I like that. It's like a spelling bee.
Radically Fit Oakland.
I was following along. I was like, can I get the origins?
So Radically Fit Oakland, and then our website is also radicallyfitoakland.com.
Thank you for taking the time to sit with us and to share your personal experiences. And thank you for the work that you're doing in the community. It is greatly appreciated, and it's absolutely a space that is needed, and super grateful to have someone step up and create that and hold that space.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you for your vulnerability on this episode with us and sitting in this conversation and having the hard conversations and sharing things you've never shared publicly. And personally, I'm very one of those people that I learn hearing people's stories, hearing people's experiences, and I've taken a lot from talking with you today, and it's been really beautiful, and I just wanted to appreciate you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I just want to thank Luca again for being here with us, and look forward to checking out the gym. It was really awesome to be able to talk those kind of things, because a lot of times, I don't know if it's you, but sometimes I get afraid to talk about those topics because, you never know what the reaction is going to be, especially like anti-blackness, fat phobia.
Yeah, hot button items. Talking about them can be a little nerve-wracking. I agree.
Yeah.
I know. I learned so much. I just want to say thank you from our whole team to everybody listening. And if you find value in what we're saying and what we're doing, please feel free to reach out. We have links in our show notes. We have links in our Instagram to donate. Anything helps, everything helps, and it keeps more content coming, and it gives us the ability to keep growing this for everybody out there.
Yeah.
So,
and if you like any of our messages we put out there on any episode, share the episode, share it with people, and have them hear that message and feel that message just like you did.
Just as a personal thank you V, for putting out all of the social media content that you do. It is always amazing, and I just want to say thank you for putting that effort in and helping connect to everybody via social media. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I couldn't do it without Leah, our producer. Those videos she pumps out are awesome. So
Go team, go.
Yeah. Let's get this hype going for the next episode. We're actually going to bring on our other executive producer, your partner, business partner.
Yeah, Stevie Kwa is going to be joining us, and we're going to talk about all things mushroom. We'll talk a little bit about our chocolate company, Kanoko, which does functional mushroom chocolates, and how we got started, and our love for mushrooms. So stay tuned, listen in, check back.
We have so much more to explore and to share with you. Tap that follow or subscribe button to get every episode as soon as it's released. leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And join our wellness community on Instagram at Quest Wellness Pod. Also, be an official supporter of this podcast by leaving us a tip. The link will be in the show notes. This podcast was produced in collaboration by Kanoko Chocolates and Puka Puka Creative. Executive producers Stevie Kwa and Corey Houston. Producer, editor, sound designer Leah Jackson. Associate producer Rafaela Landestoy. Original music produced by Basque. His music is amazing. And we can't forget about the emotional support of our fur babies by Frankie, Ruby, Nugget, and Pukalani.
Boom shaka laka 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 boom. V, can you respond to that, please?
Shakalaka boom.
That was unexpected. Good job. All right.
Thanks.